I'm going to go ahead and record so that anyone who is not able to attend today can get this information. Is that okay with everyone in the room? All right, thank you. So once again, taking it from the top, today we're going to go over the WVOC Outlook calendar. It's a new thing that I piloted over this. I used myself for about a year, really liked it. Then I piloted it over the summer with lots of staff to see how they felt about it. The feedback was positive, so I wanted to roll it out to the rest of the school with the hope that we can all get get things at a glance and get things where we normally look for information. So as you know, as LAUSD employees, we are asked to look at our email every work day. Okay, so when we're on the clock, you have to take a peek at some point at your email. And because of that, it makes it really easy to also be able to see your calendar. So that's why it works in rather nicely. And we're going to get into all that, but it makes it very convenient to find everything at a glance instead of saying which bulletin was that on, which email was that in, be able to see everything you need to see in one stop shopping. So for our PD agenda today, first of all, welcome. We're going to go over a few introductory slides. We're going to do a quick overview of our PD objectives today. We'll explore the why, which is the WIIFM. And if you don't know what that radio station is, stay tuned. We'll do a step-by-step in the format of I'm going to be doing it. I expect you to be doing it. We can all be doing it together. Okay. We'll have a quick Q&A at the end and a PD evaluation, if you please. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. First of all, part of our introduction is to remember that learning doesn't happen in the moment or even in a moment. Learning requires time because there is no process that does not require time. And it requires time to connect and reflect. Okay. Connect with the information and reflect on it. And after you've connected and reflected, then you can say that you've learned something, right? So in that spirit, if you need to reach out later because you have questions after you've had a chance to connect with things and reflect a little bit, please do feel free to get a hold of me. You might say, hey, how do I get a hold of you? Well, one of the easiest ways to get a hold of me is in my email signature. It looks like this. In my email signature, you'll see that I always have my Zoom meeting ID right there. Okay. And you can also see that I also have a uh, Calendly booking. So if you want to just absolutely get time with me and specify time with me, and you can't come by my office at any of these times, but maybe our schedules are different. You can always book time with me. This one is in this signature, but this little line at the bottom always appears in my emails, and you can always book some time with me if you need to. Okay. Another way you can get a hold of me is through Lunchbox Learning. And you're like, what's that? Well, that is a Schoology course that you might find yourself captive in. And that's because all staff is added to this. You'll see that it's somewhat the same, that you'll see that I still have my Zoom meeting ID right here, so you can get to it. You can also book an appointment using my Calendly booking thing. It goes directly onto my Outlook calendar. So you've had that time reserved with me if you need it. You're always welcome to drop by. And you don't need to make an appointment. You could just stop on by. These are probably the best hours to get me. Okay. Um, so now let's go ahead, and having done that, the next step on our agenda today is to overview today's PD objectives. Okay, so as a participant today, we'll be going over two main objectives. The first one's going to be to learn about the features of the LAUSD employee Outlook calendar. Okay, and the next one is going to be, I'm going to turn on my little laser pointer here. So this is going to be our first one. And our other one is going to be discovering how to set up and use the WVOC Outlook calendar. And if you haven't gotten an invite to that or you can't find it, we'll get you set up with that. So not to worry. And these are the subcategories we're going to be working on. Our step-by-steps that I referred to earlier. We're going to locate the calendar. We're going to ensure that your settings are correct for you. We're going to add an event or go over how to add an event. We're going to go over how to set up a meeting, how to set up in a meeting and add an invitee. Okay. And then on the Discover side of things, specifically for the WVOC calendar, we're going to talk about how to add that calendar in. There's some do's and don'ts that will make your life a little easier. We're going to place the calendar in the My Calendar section, so you'll actually get some notifications. We'll talk about toggling the calendar on and off, expanding events so that you can see the details that I've packed into that calendar to hopefully make your life easier. And finally, understanding notifications, why you're getting them, or maybe why you may not be getting them. And if you don't want them, how to tone them down. So that's our overview of our objectives today. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I didn't hear anybody, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next bit. All right, before we start anything, it's really important to know this. WIIFM sounds like a bad radio station, but it's not. It means what's in it for me. If you want to learn anything, if your students want to learn anything, it needs to be relevant. So what's in it for me, make sure that it's relevant to what we do here at WVOC and your work life here at our school. So what is in it for you? Well, the West Valley Occupational Calendar is it helps staff members stay up to date with all key information. Why is this important? Because previously it was some people had a printout of it, some people had an outdated printout, some people wrote it on a calendar. They didn't know where to be or what to be or when to go or what they were supposed to do. And so when you have to look in a bunch of different places for key information, it is inefficient. It's difficult. You have to remember, where was that? Is that on the website? Is that here? It's much easier, like I said, because you, as an LAUSD employee, you're required to look at your email each work day. Okay. So if you're going to look at your email each work day, why not use the calendar that's right attached there to help you get an idea of what your schedule might look like for that day. Okay. So let's have a look at it. Scheduled safety drills have the evaluation form link included in the calendar setting. So that makes it easier for you to evaluate right after you have that safety drill. By having the due dates for LAUSD mandated trainings, like at MyPLN, those have those links included also with other key information you might need for that training. You need to know when this semester or the trimester or the quarter starts and ends so you can do your long-term planning and know what's going on for your classes. Information contained here is pulled from the LAUSD board approved calendar. So I've gone through that and made sure that those dates are all correct. All of our school PD sessions, like the one you have today, is going to be on that. And by all school, not all of our school, I may have misspoken. I meant all schools. So if it involves everybody, that PD session will be there. If it's departmental, departments might handle that differently. Important school-wide events, if we might have something school-wide. So also on the calendar is the Career Expo, which is not only just our school, but it's all of DACE. So that appears on that calendar as well. And notes that support our general school culture. So right now I noticed that we have spirit days and things like that. So we have those sorts of things on there too. And things like, the first day of fall, stuff like that, that is interesting for people. Maybe it's interesting for your students as well. And so much more. So the first thing you need to do if you're sitting at your computer, and I hope you are, is to open your LAUSD email. All right. So you're going to go in there, and if you need to, you can go always to our WVOC staff page, and you'll see that the email and calendar is right here on this staff page. And by clicking on it, it will open that up for you, and you enter that in with your SSO. So if you're a new employee, this is at the WVOC website under the staff setting. If you click the staff button, then this page shows up. The link to our safety meeting is always here. And if you want to open your LAUSD and email and calendar, because it's the same place, you're going to click right here to get started. And that will seamlessly bring you over to your very own calendar. I'm sorry, it will probably initially open your email. and I'll open my email just so you can see how that looks. Okay. This is that email signature we spoke about earlier and the links that it had to get a hold of me. So everyone should have this open on their page, and I sure hope you do. All right. Now, the next step that you're going to do is we're going to locate the calendar. Okay. So, how do we locate that calendar? Well, locating the calendar, it looks like this. So, you have the part on your email that has the waffle, okay, the word Outlook next to it. This may be a different color for you, it depends on what you've chosen. The first little icon is for your email, and the next icon down is where you would find your Outlook calendar. Okay. And once again, we're doing this step by step. I'm doing it. I'm expecting you to do it so we can all do it together. Okay. So go ahead, and if you've never opened that up before, you might find it to be somewhat blank. Okay. So your calendar, when you open it up, let me go ahead and open mine. So following that, I'm going to come up here where my waffle is. I'm going to drop down. There's my email. And the next one down is my calendar. And when I click on that, I'm going to make mine a little less complicated for you. It's still going to be a little bit complicated. Let me see if I can get one that's not complicated at all. There we go. Your calendar may look like this if you do not use it. Okay. And that's okay. It's just going to be a whole bunch of days, and you're going to say, well, that's not much use to me. And that's okay. But let's take a look at the key features of this calendar. Obviously, it has days where you can input things that you need to do. On the side over here, it has a schedule. So if you had something going on today, it would appear here. Okay. You'll see that up here in the corner, that's a co-pilot. I do not use AI for much. That may surprise you, but I don't use AI. So I have Copilot turned off. But for you right now, I recommend that you keep it on. Just try it and see if you like it. Okay. There's a couple of different views that you can have on your calendar. It has, for the layout, it has a classic ribbon. So your calendar may look like this. I don't particularly like that view because it takes up more space on my page, and I want the real estate on my page to be the calendar. So I like to use a simplified ribbon, and it has a printing thing. So if you want to have something printed out, you sure can. And it can show things by the month, by the week, if you prefer, by the work week, if you prefer that, or by the day. So the reason why I use the month is because I'm a bit of a planner. And also it gives me the option of having my daily needs kind of scheduled here. Now, what are you talking about, Dr. Q? Let me go ahead and show you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to toggle my calendar on. And you can see today what I have planned on the 12th. It shows it over here. I had some focus time this morning. I have this PD now. Let me go ahead and just put what I really have to do here. I have my PLN training that is due today that I did. I know that today is Spirit Day for Disney for the school. I had some focus time this morning that I worked on a few things. I have this PD that I'm giving right now. Later today, I have a meeting with Brana West, and then looks like I have about 3 hours before I go home today. Okay. So I like to have the monthly calendar because it gives me my daily schedule right here, and it helps keep me very organized and I know what I'm doing. Does that make sense? So looking at your calendar, you may wish to do that as well. The other thing is if I want to, well, actually, I'm going to discuss that a little bit later. So I'm going to let that one go. But that's how we go ahead and locate our calendar. And now we're going to go to the next slide. Bear with me for just a minute. Like I told you, this is a new presentation for me, a new presentation style this year. So it's right here on this second one, email and then calendar. Okay, next up. So we've covered the location of the calendar. Now we want to ensure that your settings are correct. So let's have a quick look at that. The settings for your calendar can be found right up here where it says settings. Okay, so this little gear wheel way up here in the top right, exactly next to your name. All right, if you click on the settings, you're going to end up on this screen right here. And the first thing that I want you to know is it goes to view. This is the first setting is view. And I like to show the first week as being Sunday because that's my normal. But you have in other countries, they may have it be Monday because they go by a business week rather than kind of a traditional week that we do in the United States. So my first day starts with Sunday. I have things booked every 15 minutes, but you can certainly change that out by, as you can see, you can pick it. I think that 15 minutes for me works well. Okay. Um, Dynamic calendar widths, please do check that box. That means that it's going to adjust to the type of screen that you're using, and that's a really helpful setting. So go ahead and click that. Showing the week numbers will not be as helpful for you because it goes on like we start our school year in July and the year actually starts in January. So the showing the work weeks are actually not going to be helpful, and I recommend that you do not check that box. You do please want to make sure that you are in universal time standard of this is a -8. It's Pacific time zone. Okay. Make sure you're that. I can't tell you how many folks' calendars I've been looking at, and their time zone is set for Brazil. I've seen someone set up for Antarctica. I don't know how that happened. And while that may be fun, it does mess with your ability to schedule with others, and it does monkey with your clock a little bit, like when you've sent emails and when you haven't. So please do ensure that your time zone is correct, and it will be right here, Pacific time zone, US and Canada, right there. Okay. And as long as it says that, you're in good order. The other bits down here on the page, not quite as important. Does everyone understand how to set up that calendar view? And if there are any questions, go ahead and chime in. Okay, that's my little check for understanding. Now let's go to events and invitations. Again, right now our purpose is we're going over some settings. Okay, so this sort of thing, default reminder, I like to have a reminder set 15 minutes before an event. So before this particular PD, my clock went off at 15 minutes before to let me know that this PD was coming up. And I like that because it allows me to close up what I'm working on and prepare for my next thing that I'm doing. But if you're a person that would prefer a different time, you don't want to be reminded at all, that's a choice. At the time of the event, like, hey, you need to get started now, you can certainly do that. But if you don't know what to choose, try 15 minutes. I would say that's a pretty solid choice to begin with, and you can always change it. For me, I like to delete invitations that have been updated by an organizer. If they've changed the time or they've changed it, it'll change on my calendar, but I don't need to hang on to that invitation. And this is something that's been an issue at our school is a lot of teachers have said, hey, when I accept an invitation for a meeting, then it goes away from my email. And you're correct. That's because you have this box checked. Okay. If you have this box checked, when you get sent an invite, and you accept it, you say, yes, I'm going to go. That information goes onto your calendar because now it's scheduled, and it takes that gobbledygook out of your email inbox. Okay. So if you have this checked, it will delete it after you click, yes, I will attend, or no, I won't attend. If you want that email to remain in your inbox, and I'm not sure why, but I listen and I don't judge, then you would deselect that box. Okay. I don't need more email in my life. So after I accept a meeting, I want it to go onto my calendar. Okay. So that would be one thing that has been a persistent problem with folks. And I just wanted to make sure that you understood that particular selection. Okay. And then I go ahead and check that box. I show declined events because someone has canceled with me or hasn't shown up. I want to circle back with them and find out if they're okay. So moving on to the next one, the weather. Oh, no, I'm going to discard the changes because I was clicking around. Okay. The weather, I like to show the weather. It's just me. If you don't want to have the weather on your calendar, then you simply toggle that off. Okay. Events from email, fine. This is how I have mine set up. I always have events marked as private, but you need to understand is the district absolutely can see what you have on your calendar and within your email box. That's part of the responsible use that we sign when we beginning of the year, when we sign our district agreements. Okay. So even though you say private, it just means that it's not being openly shared with everyone. But if the district needed to, it could have a look. Okay. It's just so we understand the term private. This is how I have mine set up. If you click down to the next part, it goes to shared calendars. And this starts to get into the weeds a little bit. So I don't necessarily want you to work with shared calendars yet. That's advanced. And if you want to go over that with me, absolutely meet with me later. Customize actions is the next setting down. Again, I do not recommend clicking any of these. Okay, these now are considered more advanced settings. You might say, "Oh, but I do Zoom." Trust me on this one. Don't click that box. It turns out to be a little bit more of a headache than what you might imagine. As far as your accounts go, there's not going to be much that you can do with this setting. And work hours and locations, however, I do find to be helpful. Okay. You'll see that I do have my work hours set up when I come into school and how long I'm here. And I do that so that people can set up meetings with me. And that will come later in our conversation when we talk about sending invites to people. Okay. So if you were to send me an invite to a meeting, and let's say you had it on Monday morning at 8 o'clock, it would show that I'm not available at that time. And that's because I've kind of shown when I'm here at school and when I'm not. And I don't specify it super. I can be really specific about where I am. I'm not. I just say office, that I am present, I'm in the office and I'm working. Okay. And I would recommend for most people to do this is to set up your clock hours as when you're on campus or when you're working so that people know when they're contacting you when you're not available. I do not show my work location on my calendar. That's, you know, I show it everywhere else, the signature and in Schoology, but not necessarily here as a setting. Okay. So that's how I have those go over the settings for the calendar. And again, the way we got to that was if we wanted to make a change, we would go to the settings here. Does anybody have any questions about that? No? Well, you're either fascinated or confused. So either way, that's okay. The next thing that we wanted to do was ensure that those settings are correct, and that's what we just did. I showed you my examples of my settings, and those are the ones that I feel are the best to start off with. So when we did this step by step, I was trying to demonstrate to you what the best practice would be. If you need to go over that again with me, you sure can, or you can watch this movie when we're finished with it. So again, starting off with calendar, we're using settings. It begins with view, and these first few are really the most important. The shared calendar, the last four, not as critical with the exception of work hours, and I think that that's a helpful thing to have on your calendar. All right. Now we've done ensuring that settings are correct and locating the calendar. Our next thing that we're going to talk about is adding an event to the calendar. So again, as I'm doing this, I'm hopeful that you are doing it on your end as well. Okay. So on your calendar, let's go ahead and I'm going to get rid of some of these things. Let's get out of this one. And here I am on my blank calendar, which is what a lot of teachers' calendars look like. But let's say that I wanted to schedule something in. I simply click on the calendar. So I'll go with on the 26th. I know I'm going to do a PD on the 26th. So I'm going to go to that and I'm going to double click. Let me do that one more time for you. I choose the date and I double click on that to open the event. Okay. I give myself a title of event. I have a certain way that I do this, but I might call this a PD, and I might call this, the next thing would be Burlington English PD. Okay. This will be for my ESL department, let's say. So I name it. Okay. And I make sure the date and time is correct. I do these two things first. So I know it's not going to be at 7:30. I know it's going to be at 11:30. So I'm going to set that up first because I want to make sure above all that the name of the thing and the time of the thing are correct. So now I've done that, and you can see on the side here, it's showing me how much time that's taking up. After I've done that, I'm going to add, if it's a physical location, I'm going to add the physical location. So it might be room 215 or 101A, which is this office. But if it is a Zoom meeting, friends, remember how I told you in the setup not to use the Zoom? That's because if it's a Zoom meeting, I put the Zoom address in the location bar. And the reason why I do that is it makes it very easy for you, the person that's going to receive this invitation, to click and get to the meeting quickly without having to dive in really deeply to details. So the way I do this is a very clear name for the event. Make sure that the time, date and time are correct because that's pretty mission critical. And then make sure that if it's a link, a Zoom link, I just put my Zoom link right in the location because that makes it very easy. The other thing is if it's not a Zoom, it's an in-person event, then I'll mark it as in-person and then I'll give a physical location for it. Okay. Now, when you first put these physical locations in, you're going to have to type them out. Okay. Room 101B, for example, is not a room yet. So I would have to type that out myself and hand enter it. Okay. And I could. All right. You can hand enter them, or if you've done it enough, it'll come up as a drop down. Now invitees. Now this is an interesting sort of thing. So let me click two. There's two kinds of invitees. There's the people that you require to be there. They really do need to be there. And then there's folks that don't have to be here. So if I'm doing, say, a PD, I'll usually add our APs as optional invitees. It's for their awareness, and so it's on the calendar so they know I'm doing a PD. But my teachers I'll have as required attendees. Whether you want to come or not is always up to you. But I will put you on this line so you get an invitation. So let's go ahead and give it a try. Let's say that I want to invite Charmaine. I saw Charmaine in here earlier. So if I start typing her name in the to line, it comes up in our global lookout because it uses the same technology that our email uses. So once you start typing the person's name, it has that person come up. You can select them. If I have another person that I want to add to this Burlington English meeting, I can do that. Let's see who wants to come. I see Dina Tarab in the room. So I'm going to go ahead and say Dina Tarab. She comes right on up and I can add her. Okay. So you can add folks to this. Let's say, you know what, it's really optional if Charmaine wants to be there because she's not really using Burlington English, but Dina is. I can drag and drop the folks that I want to this meeting. Now, let's say you wanted to schedule something with me, you would start typing my name here, and it would let you know whether or not I'm available. Okay. So that's how you send you you structure a meeting, you get a meeting planned, and then you can invite folks to your meeting. And then you would go ahead and send that. I'm not going to bother anybody with this, so I'm going to take both of your names off of it, and I'm just going to click send. And when I click send, then it's going to come to the email inbox, okay? And it's also going to appear on the calendar. Do you see how that appears now on my calendar? All right, when I go ahead and click on it, say, what is that? I don't exactly remember. It kind of tells me where it is, and it's an in-person event and what that means in room 101A. Okay. You'll see that it also now appears on my schedule for Friday, September 26th. So that is an example of how to create. What we just did was we created a calendar event. So let's say you had CASAS testing. Okay. And you wanted to remind yourself that you had CASAS testing. You would open up the day you had CASAS testing. You would write down, tell yourself that you have CASAS testing that day. And if you knew what time it was, you can go ahead and add that time, make sure the date and time is correct. Okay. And then you could save it to your calendar, and it will be saved to your calendar so you'll know what you're doing. That's how you manage your personal, and I say personal, but I mean your LAUSD employee calendar. Does anyone have any questions on how to create an event or add an invitee for an event? No. Okay. Then on that merry note, we'll go ahead and continue on. So that is how we added an event. So we added an event. We just did how to set up a meeting. That was with the invite. Okay, you click on that calendar. Interesting. And so I just demonstrated that. You double click on that, you name it, you invite whoever it is, or if you have a CASAS test, you write the CASAS test on there and you set that up and it appears on your calendar. And then we also covered how to set up that meeting with an invite. And just to go over it one more time to be infinitely clear, let's review that. We talked about how you would go to this calendar. You would click on the event. You would make sure that you had the event name, that you would have the person that you needed to invite in either the to or the optional line. Okay. You would make sure that your date and your time are correct. You would have your place. So it just basically has the who, what, when, and where. It does designate whether it's in person or via Zoom. Okay. If it's a Zoom, if it's online, then use your Zoom link in that location and then click save and it will appear on your calendar appropriately. For how many of you is that new information? Sometimes that's a real wonder when you go, oh wow, I can do that. You absolutely can. And when you try to schedule with me, if you're scheduling with me outside of my working hours, you will see that I'm not available. And that's usually pretty helpful for people to know. If they wanted to schedule this, say, on a Saturday, and at I guess at any time, and you wanted to, schedule with me. So let's invite me. And there I am. Okay. And I could say, if that was an in-person, well, actually that's a Zoom meeting. But if I needed to, I could schedule a time that would be convenient for both of us. If you need to change the time, you can also drag and drop the time over here, and it will automatically change that meeting time for you too. So if this is an easier option, you can do that. And you can do this for any event that you're going to do, schedule using this. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Okay. So we've gone over quite a lot so far. We've gone over how to locate the calendar, how to ensure that the settings are correct, how to add an event like CASAS or anything like that, how to set up a meeting with someone else, how to invite that person to the meeting. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to talk about how to set up and use specifically the WVOC calendar. Okay. So let me go ahead and go to my full slideshow so you can see that. You can give it just a second. My computer can be a tiny bit slow sometimes. And next. Okay, we did that. All right, we're on adding the WVOC calendar. So, and just a moment here. There we go. Okay, so how do we do that? Everyone should have gotten an invitation to this calendar. The invitation came in your email and it looks like this. It uses a very old naming convention for our school. So, I apologize. That shouldn't have done that. The very old naming convention for our school was West Valley Oc CTR, and the email address is West Valley OCC at lausd.net. This naming convention is at least for like 30 years old, okay, on how they used to call our school in the old days. So you will have gotten an email from this email address and this name on the email. And it says they would like to share an Outlook calendar with you, and you want to click the word accept. Now, right now, if anyone has not gotten that invitation in their email at some point in time, would you please drop your name in the chat and I will make sure I send an invitation to you. So go ahead and have a look at that. If you did not get that invitation, please do put your name in the chat so I can send you an invitation to the calendar. Okay, so far so good. So I don't see anyone dropping their name in the chat. So because of that, I'm going to presume everybody has access to the calendar. So now the next thing that we need to do is that if you've gotten that calendar and you've accepted that calendar, then it has been added to your employee calendar. So the next thing we're going to do is talk about how to place the calendar in your My Calendars area. I'm going to go back to my employee calendar again. And what likely is the situation is that you have a calendar that looks like this. It's got this thing called My Calendars, okay? And then it has something called Other Calendars. If you click on the caret, okay, if you click on this little caret right here, it'll reveal other calendars that you may have access to. And what I want you to do is I want you to find the West Valley AUK calendar. I want you to click on it and drag it up to your My Calendars section. Okay. So one more time, this is a drag and drop menu. You're going to see that in My Calendars, you might only have something that says calendar, and that's okay. You're going to click the calendar for other calendars, grab the West Valley Occupational Center calendar and drag it up. And what you will likely see now is you will likely see what's called a split view. So let me grab both of these and add them. Let me simplify the look here. You might see a calendar that looks like this, split view. I that kind of a calendar look drives me nuts. Okay, but you can see that this is the West Valley calendar, and this is my calendar that I have going on. And so for me, this is a lot to look at, and it's too much for me to look at. So what I want to do is I want to take that West Valley calendar and I want to just kind of lay it over the top of my personal calendar. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to click the word split view, and it's going to cause both of those calendars to come together now. Okay. So now you have both calendars integrated into one view. So you're like, well, I don't want to look at everything at one time. That's okay. You can come over here now and toggle the West Valley calendar off if you only want to see things that pertain to you. And if you don't, you can go ahead and click the West Valley calendar on, and then you'll be able to see everything that's going on. Now, here's the important part, and this comes in a little bit later with notifications, but you'll only get notifications for the calendars that have a little check mark by them. If your calendar doesn't have a check mark by it, you won't get a notification, okay? Because it's not an active calendar. You'll only get notifications for active calendars. So if you do want to get notifications for things like the safety drill or the ESS trainings and things like that, you do need to have these toggled on at some point, okay? But if it's too much for you to look at and you just want to get a quick look at what your day looks like, okay? And again, when I did that split view, it closed something. I want to draw your attention down here to the lower right-hand corner. Can everyone see in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little tiny box with an arrow in it. That is an expander, okay? So if your agenda, you can't see your agenda, you can use this little toggle box to open and close your daily schedule, okay? It's just an expander toggle. So that's how you can make sure that you can see your monthly and you can see your daily activities. You can locate which calendars you're looking at. If you don't want to look at the West Valley calendar, you simply toggle it off, and then you're back to your own personal daily calendar. Okay. So that is how you go about having a look at what you have to do for the day and how to toggle that calendar on and off in ways that make sense for you. Did everybody have success in integrating the West Valley calendar, dragging it up to the My Calendar section, and then getting rid of that split screen? Was everyone successful with those steps? And if not, oh, it looks like one person dropped their name in the chat. Dina did. Okay. Dina, are you telling me that you didn't get access to that West Valley calendar and you want me to send it to you?
Yes.
I'm seeing a thumbs up on that one. Okay. So I'm going to send this to Dina right now. I'm going to go to share. Hold on, Dina, your invitation is coming.
Okay.
Dina Tarab,
Yes.
I'm going to click your name. All right. It says that I've already shared it with you because your name didn't come up. And here's the list of staff that have received an invite.
Okay.
So let's see,
I didn't
David
remember getting.
Tarab. It's okay. I can resend it. So like here you are right here. So you definitely did get that invite, but if you can't find it, I can help you if you wish.
Okay.
Okay, good. Jesse says, I understood the explanation. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you, Jesse. All right, fantastic. Okay, that is great. So what we did was we talked about how to place the calendar in the My Calendars section. Okay. And next, let me just slide to the next slide. So we talked about that placing that calendar into the My Calendars section. I'm not sure why this part of the slideshow is so slow. Um, it might just be my computer, and I apologize. And then we talked about how to toggle those calendars on and off, just checking the checkbox next to the calendar name, um, that it'll toggle it on and off for you. Okay. And we just went over that detail, and everyone seemed to say that they've got that particular concept on how to do that. One more time, we'll just go over it just to make sure. This is the toggle on and off. This is what I'm talking about. We select, we deselect. So again, we drag an important calendar up to the My Calendar section, and we select it on. If it's selected on, you'll get notifications. If it's selected off, you will not. Okay. Hi, Rebecca. Okay. Great, great, great. Okay, next up is I might just have to switch to a different method for this one. The next one is expanding events for details. Okay, so let's say that you are looking now at a calendar and you wanted to get details about this PD that we're having right now. So I'll click on the day, and I can either pick it up from my sidebar calendar, my daily agenda calendar over here, or I can go actually into the event here. I'm going to click on it to open it. Usually to open an event, it's 2 clicks. I like to think of it as that the word open has 2 syllables, open, open. So to open something, it's usually 2 clicks, open, open. All right. Now what I've done is I've expanded this event so that I can kind of see a little bit more to it. I can see this thing here, and I can see the location and more of the event details. I can from it's under a progressional growth, tag. So I can close that out again, and it just appears very minimal where you get the time, the day, what it is, and the location, the basic information. But let's go into something that's a little different. So for example, let's have a look at a safety drill. And specifically, let's do this earthquake one. So I'm going to double click on this to open the event. It will open the event. And then what I get is the essential information, kind of big so I can see it. I can see that I'm going to get a notification 15 minutes before the event. Okay. I can see what it is. It's a safety drill. What kind of safety drill? It's an earthquake safety drill. Where is it going to be? It's going to be in class. That means that we're not doing a full evacuation. We're going to practice this exactly to the T, but in our own classrooms. I can tell when it's happening, both date, and time. And I can tell that it's an in-person event. And then this link right here is the link to the evaluation form so that when I'm done, I can get that evaluation form done right away. I don't have to look for it or find it anywhere. It's right here with the event. And then any other notes that I need to know. Oh, I know that 9:30 and 7:30, all classes, morning and evening, are required to participate. So it gives me all that essential information, everything I need to know as a teacher to get that particular thing done. But let's take a look at an ESS training that's upcoming. So if we go double click and open, we can see the full information. We can see that it's for staff only. And on that note, it says for staff only trainings, choose just one session, either the 9:30 or the 7:45. So it clarifies for you what your responsibilities are as far as, are you supposed to go to one? Are you supposed to go to both? If you open up this calendar setting, you'll see that it's clear that what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. And again, it'll have the evaluation form if needed. This particular one has a Zoom link on it. You can see it's not in person. It has a Zoom link on it so that you can get to that meeting. That's an online training. Okay. So this has that. I'm actually going to take this one off. Thank you. I'm glad I'm looking at this because it reminded me of something. So this particular ESS meeting has the Zoom link that you would need. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now, I also mentioned that it has some other events that are from the Los Angeles Unified District School Board calendar, the approved calendar. And one of the things they do is tell us when we're not supposed to be here, right? So on September 23rd, we're not supposed to be here. I've specified this as unpaid and unassigned, and some of you often wonder why. And the reason why is because it's important for the community and for others to know that we just don't get endless days paid away. Okay, it's important for people to know that not every time the school is closed are people just getting paid. And I don't know why that causes resentment with some people thinking that we get paid time away, but it does. So to clarify, I make sure that people know that this is not a school day, it's not paid, and it's also not assigned, and it's mostly just an educational note on that one. It'll tell you here that it's unpaid and unassigned. And also when you are going through your time clock, which I hope you do it when you get paid, you'll be able to know when you were paid for something and when you were not paid for something, and make sure that those things align and that you understand that was an unpaid and unassigned time. That is different than, say, something like Labor Day. And if we open this one up, you can see I use a different color for it. So let's open it all the way up. 2 clicks open. And it'll show you that it's no school, Labor Day, national holiday. So that is one that you, if your contract is designates this as a paid day, you would have this as a paid day. Okay, so that's another distinction on the calendar that you'll get. I'm going to get rid of my calendar. I'm just going to show the WVOC one. So the unpaid days are marked, the paid days are marked when you have staff meetings, when you have My PLN trainings that are due. If you go to a My PLN training and you open it, you'll see that it has the link to get to My PLN. It'll also tell you when things are due. And if you needed more information, you can expand it either by double clicking or choosing that expander, and it'll give you more information about that particular responsibility. Okay. If you're a planner like I am, you might want to, you might like to know that it already has plugged in the days that we will be away from school due to the winter holidays. So it'll show all of that. And then in November, it'll show you things like when the trimester ends, when the quarters end. Here it is right here, last day of trimester 1, first day of trimester 2. These are important things, for your own planning for your own classrooms. Okay, so those sorts of things are all, here's a welcome back after our fall, our autumn time away. And welcome back notices too, so just so you can keep in touch. And then fun days like Great Pumpkin Day or First Peoples Day or any kind of, I think I have California Poppy Day, things like that. So little culture notes that relate to California or our school or our surrounding communities. All right. So that's how we expand events to get details. And this last one may or may not be needed at this point, but understanding notifications. Who can tell me, based on what we've done today, when you can expect to get a notification versus when you won't get a notification? Just chime in. What do you remember from what I might have said that?
invitee in the meeting?
Yeah. So if you're an invitee in a meeting and you have that calendar selected, right? If you've toggled that calendar off, you will not get a notification. Okay. But if you have that calendar toggled on so you can see it on your calendar setting. So right now I won't be getting any, sorry, boy, my computer's a little slow today, but you can see that I don't have my calendar toggled on right now. So I will not be getting notifications for anything on my calendar. And that would be really bad because on my calendar, I have a meeting set up later today with Brana. Okay. Let me get back to my today. I have a meeting set up later today with Brana West. It's at 1 o'clock. If I toggle my calendar off like this, I don't have that now on my calendar. I won't be getting a notification. Does that make sense? So that's why I like to keep just both of these two toggled on together. And if it becomes too much for me to look at, because sometimes my days get rather busy, I can go ahead and once I've got certain things in mind, I can toggle this calendar off and just do the things that I need to attend to during the course of the day. Okay. So that is what you need to understand about notifications is that if you've selected the calendar and it's active, you'll get notifications. If you have not selected a calendar or it's not active, you won't get those notifications. All right, so let's go over what we've gone over today, just to kind of wrap things up. We've talked about how to locate the calendar, how to ensure that our settings are correct, how to add an event, which is the same as setting up a meeting, and how to add someone to it, how to invite someone to come to your meeting or your event. And then we talked about how to get our WVOC calendar, the types of things that are on it. So adding that calendar in, placing it into your calendar, the My Calendar section, so it's easily visible, and remedying that split calendar look, toggling the calendar on and off, expanding events to get critical details that you need for your school responsibilities, and then understanding how those notifications would happen, how to not have them happen, and how to make sure that they happen. And at this point, now it's just time for a question and answer. So does anyone have any questions? And again, remember, questions might happen later after you've had a time to reflect, as we mentioned in that first slide there, that we learn when we've had time to connect and reflect on the materials that we've been introduced to, right? So things might come up later, and you are always welcome to reach out to me at any time and say, hey, can you give me a quick review on that? Additionally, this particular video will be available for you in case you want to review it on your own. So I have either done a very good job or you're stunned. And that
I have questions, but they aren't necessarily global.
so all right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording now. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop recording.